Let's take a look at a label tag in AutoCAD architecture. This would be probably the simplest type of tag that you'll ever use or create yourself. But its value was something that I just encountered on a project today that made me want to discuss this so that others can see the value of using this simple tag. On the screen I have a replicated scenario of the work that I was doing, and I've gotten lazy and just put in mtext for these appliances in a kitchen, thinking it would be fine. I'm not going to run into any issues with that. I'm near the end of the project, and the labels will just stay there and everything will be fine. But then I got a call from the client who had worked out a different scenario with their kitchen design firm where things had been rearranged. I did that in the source file, but forgot that the labels were important. So just before I printed it, I noticed there was something odd, that my range was labeled refrigerator and my refrigerator was labeled range oven. Okay, so let's take a look at what I should have done. So I'm going to delete these two pieces of text. And what I should have done here is used our tags that are available under the general tools, annotation, and then just general annotation here. So if I go in through this list, I'm going to look for the XX and the YY icons here. The triple X one is for an object tag, and the triple Y one is for a style tag. So both go to multi-view blocks, but one pulls data from the multi-view block style, where the other one is for data that you want to enter on the properties palette. And you can use both. I'm going to close this because I have that tool palette on my screen. And I'll scroll down here, and here they are. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and use the style tag and zoom down to my refrigerator, hit my refrigerator, and select the refrigerator like that. So I have the tag pulls data out and labels that REF. And likewise, I can go and get the range, or maybe I'll put that here, and I can get the hood if I'm careful, and get the hood here. Oops, I wasn't careful about that. So let me zoom down here, make sure I get the hood. Here we go. So there we go. So what will happen here is the tags, which just look like pieces of text, they're associated and connected, anchored to those multi-view blocks. So if I go to the source file, which I have here under constructs, here's my source file, and I've already got it loaded up. If I decide what happened, like as the scenario today, that this needs to be arranged, I can do a mirror and grab all of these items, M2P, for midpoint between this spot and this spot. I'm just going to flip everything. So now the refrigerator's on this side. And if I go ahead and save that, those tags should understand that back in the sheet file. So I go back to the sheet file, and I reload the XREF, and those tags have readjusted. That's what I should have done, but I didn't. I was lazy and just put mtext in. Let's go through how they work. They're very simple, but there might be some things that you would want to alter. So we'll go take a look at how they function first of all. Now I'm tagging these in a sheet file. You could tag objects in a view file, or you could even tag them back in the source file, which is a construct. I never do that. I don't put anything in my constructs other than the actual model data for the building. I do not want to be haunted by pieces of text here and there, especially when I'm doing projected elevations. I don't want to try to turn that off and freeze it and see lines in the projected elevations. I just can't stand that type of clutter. If my project is pretty simple and just one model file goes into one sheet file to be a a simple product, which is most of my drawings, it'll be like I just did. I'll be in my sheet file, so I'll zoom out. This is an example file. It's what we have on our website to demonstrate our product, but it would look something like this, title block and everything. It would be pulled in, and then I would just do my labeling and my dimensioning and so forth, because it's just going to be that one sheet. So hence, that's why I'm tagging it in here. But of course, you can tag however you see fit. Now, what you need to understand is when you tag in another file like that, it reads the XREF, and it actually goes back to the source file and puts in the property data. So if I now jump back here, I should see, if I go to the extended data tab over here on the properties palette, I can see right here it says label. That's where it's getting it from. And if it didn't have that label, it would add something where you can put in some information. So our tags can be used on your own objects if you want to. Now, if you want to change the information, so let's say you want to change the refrigerator. So what I'll do here, I can't change it here because it's style-based. So I'll select the object, right-click, go to Edit Multi-View Block Definition, go here to General tab, Property Sets, and then I'll see it in here where I can now change that to an R, period, if I want to abbreviate it even more. I'll go ahead and say OK. And if I save that, that information shoots back out here. And when I reload in there, now it'll just have the R. Now the sink does not have a label on it. If I go back, we did not think to do that. I might add those personally as I'm working on new content. I would have to be told that this is something people do on a regular basis. I never label sinks. I think they're self-explanatory, but if there's a need for it, we can make that part of the next release. But if you just need it anyway, it's really easy to do. But if I click here, you'll see there's no label in the properties palette under extended data. If I go into right-click here and I edit it and go to properties, you'll see there's no label option there. So there's a couple of ways you can deal with this. One is you can tag it back here. And just go ahead and tag it. Or if you've already tagged data and that property data is in the file, you can just add it here. So I can do a right-click, go back, property here. It'll now be available. That property data should be on this list here. And so I would uncheck these, and I just want, wait, that's not the one I want. What I want is the one called label right here. So label styles with the ARCHIdigm at the end of it. That's the one I want. So that's one way of adding it. And if I click OK, it'll pop up in here. But the other way, I'll hit cancel, is, let's see, close this file. All right, and then go back to the source file, or the sheet file. And now I'll tag it in here. And I close that file so the tag will actually be able to go into that file. So I'm going to go ahead and put it here. And it's going to just give the default YYY. It doesn't know what you want in there yet. So now I can go back and open up that construct. And if I go ahead and click on the sink now, down here, I should see, there it is. All right. So I can now right-click properties, and I'll be able to change it. So I could say something like sink. OK, and OK. And I'll just save that and come back here, and boom, it's tagged. So this is how you would add, or you would use these two tags on any of the multi-view blocks that you want to, as long as you've got our general tools kit or product. The data will come from a source file in there. It's just a simple little property data to put a tag on things. Now we should take a look at a couple of other things here that you might want to know about. If I right-click here, go to Properties, you can see the refresh is automatically set, or by default set to pull from the catalog. So I wouldn't change that. But what you can do is quickly you can make a copy of any of our tools and just tweak the settings. But if I were, let's see, I've already done a copy of it. So let me go down here. I think I put it under testing. There it is. So here's the copy that I made. Now I'll go to right-click properties on that. And I undid the refresh from. And so I wanted to show you that you can go in here and you can say, hey, you know what I want you to do is I want you to rotate to the object. Of course, be aware that that means 90-degree objects would make the text go one direction, and minus 90-degree objects would make the text go opposite direction. That's not often preferential in drawings. We want them all in the same direction, but be aware of that. Let's see, probably no leaders. You don't want a leader on these, but maybe if you do, you could tinker with that. So notice where it says text down here. So it defaults, the way we had it is as defined by the content. I think actually we had, you know, I can't remember, is it target drawing text? No, I think it's as defined by content. But you can play with those two options. So if I say the target drawing text style, right there, and attribute text angle as inserted, force horizontal, right reading, you can play with it as well. I'm going to leave it as inserted, but I'm going to have it rotate to the object. So if I go ahead and do that, okay, and then I'm going to go to ST, and I will go ahead and pick, let's do plan label. It's a different, maybe I'll do, since this is, it's annotative scale. These are MvBlocks themselves, the tags are. I'm not sure what happens when you make them use an annotative text style. I've never tried that. Let's go ahead and see what happens. So I'm going to make that current. Is that current? Close. And now I'll go ahead and label the sync. So the idea here is it should pick up the font, a different font. This is what I'm showing you is, and it'll rotate. I'm showing you the font and the rotation option. So go ahead and pick this and go to the sync and come down. Yeah, so that works. So even though it was an annotative scaled text style, it didn't care. These will annotatively scale. So if I go down here and I set this to say 1/8 inch. Yeah, what a mess, right? Let's undo that. But they are set to annotatively scale. So the advantage that you can get by making a copy is that you can go and make a couple of these changes. You can have it rotate. You can set the target to drawing text style. If you want to take over control of what font is used. All right, so that's the basics of that. But let's take a look at the difference between the style-based and the object-based. We'll go back here. So I've got my object-based one here, and I'm going to go ahead and select the sync, and I'm just going to put it up here so we can all see it. Normally I would have it here, but I'll put it up here. All right, and it's going to go ahead and, oh, see, the file is open. This is a good little reminder for you. Don't tag objects in the end file, like a sheet file or view file, while the construct file is open, because the data won't actually be sent into that open file. So that's what's happening here. So I'm going to undo out of that, and I'm going to close that file up. There we go. So now go ahead and tag it again. Oh, ST, let's just put this back to, I think the default for these is Roman S. Whether you like that or not, you can always change that, but we'll just make that current. Close. And now I'm going to go ahead and tag the sync. And I'll put it up here. There we go. Now see, it stays like the other one where the sync was YYY. This is XXX. That's because this is not a style-based tag. This is an object-based tag. So what I can do now is I can go back to the construct, and I should see it now in here. I'll select the sync, and over here you can see here's the first label that's style-based. This is the label that's object-based, allowing me to write something for that particular sync. I could have two of them with different tags on them. So I could say GD, right, for garbage disposal. And if I copy that sync over here, I could have I can't think of anything smart to say right now, but maybe I just say DBL or something for like a double sync or something. DBL. Or trash, we'll just leave it at that. But there's two syncs with separate labels, but the same style label, different object label. So we'll save that. Jump back over here, and okay. Okay, so I should move this down. There. Oh, that's not a good location. Let's move it down right here. All right. So if I tag this with the object tag, it's going to say DBL, and then if I hit it with the style tag, it's going to say sync. Boom. All right, I think that's pretty much a good place to end for the basics of these tags. In a future video, maybe we'll get into how to make these and control what how they operate a little bit better. But it is just property data. And you can go to Manage, Style Manager. Let's see, I got a lot of files in here, but if we go down here, and Property Data, let's see, we have right there, there they are. Right, so you can just reverse engineer what we've done to maybe make your own. So this one's the style-based one, and it's just set to multi-view blocks here. And it's just got a very simple, manually fed. So it's this one right up here, this manual property, and it's very simple. And here's why it says YYY, because we just put that as a default. Very simple stuff, but actually quite effective. So I'm going to end it here, and hopefully this will be useful to you.